What's up, YouTube? What's up, Extreme Gains family? I'm Chuck. This is Extreme Gains. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Today is Tuesday, May 10th, 2022, and this is the Amc Gme and SPY Algo Exposed daily update and preparation video for tomorrow and beyond. As always, I hope you had a great day in the market today in the form of hopefully taking advantage of continued downside and volatility to make some money for yourselves. The premium Discord absolutely knocked it out of the park today. I was super impressed as always, so that was great to see. And I hope the same for you. Excuse me. I'm going to go over all the regulars that I always go over here, my snake algos for AMC, GME, and SPY, as well as macro comparatives. So let's dig in. On your screen is AMC and my snake algo micro intraday snake algo. AMC finished the day down 5.43%, again down an additional 0.08% in after hours at 1183. Intraday low of, I believe, 1152 today. Here is, as I said, the micro intraday snake algo. This is in the straight up position. That is my projection and fulfillment that I received from this. I did not get this placed until about 10, right before 10:30. I got it placed in here. The morning wish wash and volatility, which is, in my opinion, a liquidity rake to rake people out and out of potential positions, and or to suck liquidity into the upside, or to have an effect on the Greeks of the options chain. And then from that point on, I got it laid in here and received that exact projection and fulfillment throughout the entire day. It was there all day and watched it fulfill. It is a sight to see when you get it laid on there dead on, and then fulfillment comes in the form of what you see there. So that's the micro intraday on AMC today. I'll show you SPY when I get there. The intra-week snake algos for AMC. Last night I had showed that this was the previous snake that had been projecting and fulfilling, the green one. And I had it basically here. I'm sorry, right here. I had this compressed down. I'm just showing you here. And the indication was a potential diversion yesterday from that. And then this morning, Discord and I got to looking at this in an enlarged manner after we got the fulfillment of today's price action combined with yesterday's. And check that out. I believe there's potential that this is still intact right now. So I'm going to continue to look at it in this manner, as it did give continued projection and fulfillment, even with the rake to the upside and then the downside movement, both yesterday and now again today. Now, looking at this in that manner, the indication from this moving forward is that W formation of fulfillment in the form of consolidation prior to a move to the upside. But it does appear to potentially be tomorrow if it were to be that. However, getting back to where it was going into last night and using the snake that I clipped according to that I showed you last night. That is where I had it placed in the video last night and kept it placed there today. The projection from it moving into pre-market this morning was projected and fulfilled with the short-term move to the upside, followed by downside. It did kind of do and run at a different angle here. It did kind of run at a different angle here. And then it got the bounce off of that 1150, call it the 1150 area. And it's now back in line essentially with this. Obviously, the projection from this, if it were to continue to fulfill this intra-week snake, would be continued downside. So looking at these together, what I am looking at from the intra-week snakes currently is something along these lines here, right there. So that's what I'm looking at from the two of the intra-week snakes going into tomorrow and potentially beyond. Now, the macro comparative for AMC, the macro double-double from the macro descending wedge prior to the January 2021 run-up, way back here, this exact clip brought over here, overlaid, have been going over this every day, literally, since back in December, and tracking this macro comparative and macro fractal. For context of the inverted mirrorings that I anticipated and had nailed through this area here, as well as the move to the downside from up here, all of this really, you would have to go back to previous videos. I've had it on here, mapping these out and leaving it on here through these and explaining my interpretation of all of this throughout. So for that context, if you're new here, go check those out. That would be cool. And I think it would give you some insight as to how this has played out in its entirety throughout this fractal. The projection today from the macro comparative was this downside, and that's exactly obviously what we got. That's what it looks like. We did land right where I had this set in for a potential, what I'm calling the load zone, the LZ, for a potential add to position that I am personally looking at if it does fulfill this bottom, which it's doing right now, and that could be moved up. Obviously, I have the neckline break for this potential bottom to go to the upside. If it were to break back to the upside, that's what that level there at the 1250 level is, in case you're wondering. And then I have some on the way back up as well, and that was from the previous bounce up out of here, the green macro comparative from the previous bottom that I was using for the inverted mirroring diversions that happened prior to coming down in this bottom. But an absolute dead on, spot on projection and fulfillment all around from AMC, or for AMC today, with the micro snake algos, the intra-week snake algos, and the macro comparatives were all dead on today. So that's where it is right now. Obviously, you can see what the projection and fulfillment is moving forward, potentially with this in this position, if it were to continue to fulfill like you see it. GME, the snake for GME, the previous one had diverted, price action diverted from it. This was the snake that I had on here for the last 2 days. It has continued to project and fulfill in its entirety. There is the projection and fulfillment for today to the downside and moving forward into tomorrow and beyond. I think I can change this colors now. Let's change that to yellow. Is right there as you see it. That's the macro perspective of it. Again, we've had diversions prior to these, either finishing fulfillment and expiring, or a diversion, you know, prior to ever getting to that. And right here again, real quick, in case you didn't see it, is where we are inside of that currently and what the potential projection is moving forward from that. On the macro perspective, I have used my box top method with GME on its macro chart here. I showed you that briefly last night. I've had this double W down here framed in literally since prior to coming down into this first portion of this, and I've had it framed in. I had the hit on the third mapped out, and it gave the hit, the breakdown down to the downside, and this right side framed in W now potentially looks like it's about to possibly start building out if it can find support somewhere down here. This would, in this scenario, need to find support somewhere here to maintain the structure of this macro W, to then eventually get the move back up to the upside to the macro third, which is potentially projected here with that pull of the macro third. If it does not, This would then become just a large macro check up and then continuation to downside for the W to again start over and attempt to build out at the next lowest level. So I am hoping I do have some support levels drawn in here that I am looking for it to potentially hold up and start building out a bottom on. We are sitting just above the 92.50, which is what I have here, then 89.75 or 89.77, and then quite a ways down around the $80.50 mark after that. So I'm hoping for somewhere between the 92.50 and the 89.77 to hold up here, hopefully with any luck for that bottom to build out. Excuse me. Then last but not least, SPY. The micro intraday snake on SPY. By the way, I posted both of these up on Twitter at the end of the day. Hey, Premium, if you don't mind, if y'all are on Twitter, I know which ones of you are, and you were in live stream today, would appreciate a comment on that tweet. I can already see some questioning going on. Would appreciate a couple of y'all chiming in if you have a minute to go check that out later. That would be greatly appreciated. And or anybody from the live stream that has witnessed the micro snakes in real time sitting on a chart and watching them fulfill. That would be great. I would greatly appreciate that. A little bit of co-signing. Anyways, here it is. The micro intraday from yesterday on SPY. This was also a straight up placement and gave 100% projection and fulfillment throughout the day today on SPY as you see it. I did have somebody ask about potential diversion at the end of the day. The way I consider this is once market closes, it's expired. It's over. The micro snake from today is over once the day closes at 4 p.m. If there were to be some volatility going into after hours, then I would leave it on there for that reason. If it did have a tail end on them, some of them fulfill in their entirety compressed. Some of them get extended like this. And if there's a tail on it and it looks like a potential diversion from market close, it's fulfilled and expired as far as I'm concerned. All right, that is the micro snake, the micro intraday. The intra-week snake is the yellow one here that you see. The projection and fulfillment from it today as well was absolutely dead on. I talked about a potential short-term move to the upside here this morning, followed by continuation to downside. That's what happened. It did around midday get a hefty bounce to the upside, as you just saw on the micro, and then it pulled back. All right, so midline consolidation, midline volatility throughout today, but nonetheless, some continuation to downside in that descending consolidation manner. However, SPY did end the day green 0.23% at 399.09, and it's currently down 0.11 in after hours at 398.64. Real quick, I forgot to tell you, GME finished the day today down 5.35% at 93.50 and is currently green 0.11 in after hours at 93.60. Going back to SPY, the projection from the snake in its current position is as you see it. Obviously, the generalized perspective of macro movements moving forward from it in this position is a continuation to downside, and it does appear to be somewhat in this consolidative way that we have seen here. Then the macro comparative is the blue on here, and I've had it red. I'm going to turn it back to red. I talked about needing and wanting price action to start working its way back up in a way that it would reflect this consolidation type over here. It has yet to do that, so it's kind of still in range to potentially be able to do that, but I would want to see that eventually here and get price action to start following this generalized movement here that you see. I've stated, and I continuously repeat this in all the videos, the macro snake on SPY has never been a candle for candle projection. It has always been a projected suggested path to which price action has essentially followed in its entirety. Now, with that said, something that we looked at real quick, I'm going to try to be quick here with this, that we looked at today and I was talking about was that this here could potentially be a compressed, this price action right here could potentially be a compressed version of this, meaning that the projection and fulfillment from previous historical movement with this being placed on and the tracking that I've done has led up until this point just the way it is in this extended version. However, if this piece got compressed in here in a manner similar to this, this would obviously be this corner without compressing the whole thing. I'm just trying to show you what I mean, to where the position of our price action is currently on the downside move right now, the macro drop off for this crash. I just got to looking at that and I saw some replication of movement there, as well as this movement here, something similar to that. So if it were to be in that position, do I still have the integrity of the generalized perspective of macro movements from previous historical projection? Do I have that fulfilling? Yes, I do. I do not lose that by doing that. So that is something I am looking at. I am not in any way saying that I think that's it yet. I am not sure. This is something I started looking at with a couple members of my premium at the end of the day, and I just wanted to point that out. If we were to potentially gap down in the morning and or continue, which you know here, the current snake is indicating that that movement is what it is projecting moving forward anyways. So nothing really changes between this being here and it following the yellow snake, or this being here and replicating or indicating the same thing as the snake, right? I would have had it covered either way, the movements as far as a projecting snake. However, I may be looking at this snake. This is a little precursor for me to potentially be looking at this snake during the live streams and or the update and prep videos in this manner moving forward, if I can gather up enough confirmation on it that it allows me to do so. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well. That is everything I have for AMC, GME, and SPY for today's price movement and price action within the market. If you made it to the end of the video, I greatly appreciate it. If y'all would leave a like, leave a comment. I will be here live tomorrow morning on the YouTube channel and on Twitch starting at 9 a.m. from market open to market close. I hope to see you all then. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will talk to you all tomorrow morning. Later.